All right, greetings. Let's give this a go. I've just been trying to organize all my tabs and get myself organized and hope the cat doesn't walk across the keyboard and spoil everything. Welcome to Sophie's Voice. Here I am. The light's not very good, but anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is something called the externalization of the hierarchy. Now, you may have come across that. Not many people have. I just stumbled upon it recently and it caught my interest and it stayed stewing around in my little mind as I watched things going on in the world. And it's just sort of fermenting into something that I feel like I want to talk about and I'm trying to understand. So the externalization of the hierarchy is a concept that is expressed through the writings of someone called Alice Bailey. Now, Alice Bailey was born in 1880 and she died in 1949. And I think it's mostly in the 1920s. It may have been before that, but certainly in the 1920s. She started off, I think she started off just a regular kind of Anglican, but she was discontent and got interested in the occult and ended up becoming part of the Theosophical Society, and it was the disciple of Helena Blavatsky. If anyone follows these things, you will know that name. You see these dramatic pictures of her. She's kind of creepy. She's sort of interesting. Like, I try to understand, but they're all in this Theosophical Society, which a lot of the stuff that they talk about, I can sort of like rationally, you can, sometimes it sounds quite reasonable. But in its ick factor, it's sort of like clearly occultic and leading people into sort of like the mystery religions. It's like leading you down into mystery pathways that don't really bring proper edification and lead you away from the true God, the living God, who is expressed through Jesus Christ. And I just wanted to just talk about the nuance there, because a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about, it is sort of confusing, because if you don't have a real taste if you don't really believe that Jesus is the representation of God, then you just take him as just another, and that's what these kind of teachings do. They just have him in amongst all the world teachers, and so it's not a way to check things to see if they're online or not, because there's no real check. It's just you just got to, it's sort of relying on your own sense, I guess, and then it all ends up being somebody else's sense, really, because that's the way the occult ends up working. I think is someone ends up taking the lead. So now Alice Bailey started to get sort of transmissions, you might say. She was sort of very early in this concept of channeling information. And it says, now I'm just going to go to a screen, see if I can do a little screen share and go into my thing there. So this is, it says in 20, oh, okay. I just want to skip that. That's an image of, let me see if you can see that. Oh, you can't really see it. If I move it, then it'll probably be bad when I do something else. So that's Alice Bailey there. And this one says, the masters of the hierarchy are the guardians over humanity and translate the forces of Shambhala to humanity. They are headed by the Christ. Now, notice they always say the Christ. They're not really talking about the biblical Jesus. And in a sense, it's sort of like the Zionists are waiting for the Messiah still, and Christ means Messiah, so it means the anointed one, really. So it could be their anointed one. I don't think they're obviously making references to, so that people who are Christian feel like, oh yeah, okay, it's about Christ, but Christ doesn't matter what you call him. It's like Shakespeare said, a rose by any other name will smell as sweet. So the name, in a sense, isn't I mean, names are important, but it's the essence or the spirit that is more important, because you can call something, but if it's not in its spirit, if it's not that, then it's something different. And so that's this idea, I think, of this use of the word Christ. It's not necessarily Jesus Christ. So Shambhala is, I think I'm saying that right, is the kind of Eastern concept, and it's through Tibetan and maybe Indian, I can't remember, I looked it up, but I can't really remember, idea of sort of like a heavenly realm, or where did I see Shambhala? Maybe I got rid of that. Or I think I put it in as something else. I'll show you that later. So anyway, yeah, these masters. Sorry, I'll just come back here and say hello. Hello. And here's Mowgli with me. You're helping me, aren't you? Concentration. All right, let's go. So the externalization of the hierarchy. No, I didn't look in that one that I just showed you. It actually says, it talked about 2025. So the interesting thing why I want to talk about this is because in these channeled writings, it was all about the externalization of the hierarchy. So it's all about this idea that there's this hierarchy of human. All right, let's go and find. I'll just go and find another. How do I do this again? Oh my god! All right, now I go in here and let's have a look what this one says. All right, this one is. Oh, this is by a Christian, so it's their attitude is, you'll see up above here that they're quoting scripture and talking about they see it as demonic. And that's kind of where I'm going. That's the way I'm seeing it, but I just want to be open for people to see that it's, I want to see it by its evidence rather than just by saying it so as though you're not allowed to think about it or feel it for yourself. But this one says Alice Bailey's writings describe a spiritual hierarchy of beings whom she called the hierarchy that actively seek to influence the world's social, economic and political systems. Her occult revelation of an externalized hierarchy posits that starting around 2025, these spiritual entities will make their presence physically known, acting through select human institutions to advance their goals. And so that's just the book there. So there's a book, and they're on the official site. You can see there the Theosophical Society bookshop, and you've got their symbol here with all the different religious symbols. There is no religion higher than truth. I'm inclined to believe that, but I think it's used as a trick to get people away from the truth, and it's always the temptation, isn't it, to find the truth through alternative means. Okay, so their description, this book discusses the interdependence of all states of consciousness and kingdoms in nature within the planet. It shows the interconnection between humanity, the hierarchy, and Shambhala, and sets out the essentials of plan and purpose which influence human affairs. So there's always a little bit of, let me just see if that's showing up. Oh, okay, let's move that across a bit. And then let's come back and say hello to me. Oh, there I am. Oh, yeah, okay, so now, so when I start, there's so much information, it's very hard to work out how to express it all. So my interest is in, first of all, giving you a bit of a picture of this idea of the externalization of the hierarchy and what the hierarchy is, and then how I see that sort of being manifest in the world today. Like, is that still the objective, and who is the hierarchy, and are they still at work, and what are they doing? So first of all, I just want to talk a bit about, so when Alice Bailey was head of the I think it was when she got kicked out of the Theosophical Society anyway by can't remember, there was another woman that took over. So she was running it, I think. And then her and her husband, someone or other Bailey, started something called the Arcane Society. And so arcane meaning something that is understood by few. So it's a sort of secret knowledge kind of thing. And that's what all of these things appeal to, is this idea that there is a select few that know the real truth. So she channeled this information about the hierarchy, and they started a publishing company, and it was called Lucifer Publishing. Let's see if I got that here. So it is now known as Lucas Trust, but it was originally called Lucifer. Let me share this again. Let's go back in here. And I just want to show you the Lucas Trust, formerly known as the Lucifer Publishing Company, is a non-profit, and that's their symbol there, which, I don't know, it's like a sigil or something, isn't it? I'm not sure what that represents, but it feels a bit dark to me. The Lucas Trust, formerly known as the Lucifer Publishing Company, is a non-profit service organization incorporated in the United States in 1922 by Alice Bailey and her husband Foster Bailey to act as a fiduciary trust for the publishing of 24 books. Let's have a look what fiduciary is. Which trustee holds the title? Oh, we did. It's not important. 24 books of esoteric occult philosophy published under Alice Bailey's name, and to fund and administer activities concerned with the establishment of right human relations. What's that? These include the Arcane School, a school for esoteric training, World Goodwill, Triangles, a lending library, the Beacon magazine, as well as a publishing company. Okay, so it's all about study of comparative religion. So it's about broadening the human sympathies of interest. So it's about opening the human mind. So I was just having a look at Lucifer. So the reason that people can use this idea of Lucifer as in a positive sense is that it really means the light bringer. So the word Lucifer is not really used in you can't see that properly, how annoying. Anyway, I'm perfecting my technological understanding. So the idea of Lucifer, that people, Christians, they hear that and they get really shocked because people are using it as a positive. And so then they think, well, they're just Satanists. But I don't think they're Satanists in the sense of like, we just want to do dark and evil things. It's like the idea of Lucifer. So Lucas is from the Latin word. This is one of their statements on the UN site, saying that it comes from the Latin word lux, meaning light. Right? So it's all seen in these positive terms. It's not seen as like a fallen angel that's come to destroy everything and the enemy of God. And the interesting thing is that in the Bible, it's not really clear. Like people, I always presumed that that the idea of Lucifer was explicitly describing the devil in the Bible, but it's not. So the times when it's mentioned, the word translated as Lucifer actually means a morning star or light bringer. So it's I'll just read this. In Roman folklore, Lucifer, light bringer in Latin, was the name of the planet Venus. Though it was often personified as a male figure bearing a torch, the Greek name for this planet was variously Phosphorus, also meaning light bringer, or something else meaning dawn bringer. So the morning star was the brightest star in the sky in the morning. And so it was used in the way I should have got the scripture from the Bible. Oh, hang on. Maybe they've got it here in this Planet View, Christianity. In the Bible, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, the king of Babylon is condemned in a prophetic vision by the prophet Isaiah and is called Hillel ben Shachar, Hebrew for shining one, son of the morning, who is addressed as Hallel ben Shahar. This title refers to the planet Venus as the morning star, and that is how the Hebrew word is usually interpreted. The Hebrew word transliterated as Hallel or Haylel occurs only once in the Hebrew Bible. The Septuagint renders it as Heophorus, bringer of the dawn, the ancient Greek name for the morning star. Okay, so you get the idea. So it's the morning star. So it has become, so it's more like it's become in the Christian psyche, we've become used to the idea that it's really good to think about it, because if you don't think about it, it's just like Lucifer is the devil. But it actually is something very specific. It's like when human beings consider themselves so high and mighty that they're competitive with God, that they want to be up in the heavens and the greatest and the most mighty. I'm pretty sure if you go and read those scriptures, I think there's two of them that kind of make reference to it and sort of make you feel like it's talking about something supernatural, because one of them makes reference to you were there in Eden. It's a little bit obscure, but I think that that's pretty clear that from a Christian point of view, Lucifer is describing that human quality of not being content with being human, pretty much, which was the original temptation, wasn't it? So let me just, so I wanted to, sorry, okay. All right, I'll just play you this little thing here. So let me just get back in. Sorry, this is clunkier than I thought the way I'm doing this, but anyway, I'm trying to do, all right. So this is a funny little video. This is some woman who's made these little videos sort of exposing the New World Order stuff. So I'll just play a little bit of it. It might be a bit loud. I don't know if I couldn't control the sound very well with that. I didn't want to compromise my sound, but she's got a very strong opinion about it all, but I'll just play a little bit and see what you think.
United Nations headquarters, which was built in 1945 and financed largely by John D. Rockefeller. Inside UN headquarters is an ominous meditation room. The custodian of the meditation room is Lucis Trust Company. At one time, the Lucis Trust was located at 666 United Nations Plaza and was formerly named Lucifer Publishing Company. The Rockefeller-funded UN Meditation Room is 33 feet long and 18 feet wide. 18 feet is 6 plus 6 plus 6. The small, dimly lit, windowless room was built in the shape of a pyramid that is laying on its side. At the center of the room is a 4-foot-high, black, casket-shaped stone slab which weighs 6.5 tons and is extremely magnetic and rests on a concrete pillar. The pillar descends beneath the floor into the bedrock and taps into the Earth's hyperdimensional energies to induce a state of altered consciousness.
All right. So yeah, she's got strong opinions about it all. But so that's a bit interesting there. So yes, getting back to the concept of the externalization of the hierarchy. So that gives you a bit of a background to understand what we're talking about. So I'm not sure. Oh, okay, I'll look at this one. I'll just flick you over so you can see it too. Oh, no, that's not the right one. I lost mine there. Is that better? Yeah, okay. So the work of the spiritual hierarchy of the planet. So this is their idea. Okay, so the outstanding and dramatic feature of hierarchical action in the present era is the presentation now underway in the hierarchy for its return to outer plane activity. It is important, therefore, that more people know about the fact of the hierarchy and about what sort of people the masters of wisdom really are. So these people, which is the hierarchy, it says they're members of humanity that through struggle and personal overcoming have reached a higher level and are now masters of wisdom. And so some of them are presumably are in the on the other side. So yeah, there was the thing about Shambhala. So and Google, it says Shambhala is the name of a mythical kingdom in Central Asia where the people enjoyed harmony, good health, and well-being. So it's obviously a sort of a symbol of paradise or heaven. So these concepts are being used, but like I said, it's like you're using the word Christ, but what do you mean by that? It doesn't necessarily mean you mean the same thing. Might use the same word, but you might mean something different. Okay, so they're talking about these hierarchy are masters of wisdom, and that they're just high. But like as it goes on, I don't know if you can pause it if you want to read this, but I hope let me just go and check to see if you can see it. Oh yes, you can see it all. Jolly good. So the masters, it says it's a worldwide group of executives, adept and skilled in various fields of work in the modern world, organized into a close network of communication throughout the world with representatives in all nations, both East and West, and working in the closest cooperation. The overall hierarchical organization has three major divisions. One's so there's political, there's teaching, that's education, religion, and healing, and a third division for economics. That involves industry, labor, and capital, scientific discovery. The masters of wisdom are far more practical and realistic than the most efficient big business executives in our modern world. They are far more potent in affecting world events than are the most powerful leaders of any nation or government in the world. They make a constant study of human affairs, watching human trends and human planning for the world betterment. So then it goes on to talk about the masters work according to plan and are known as the custodians of the plan. And I just put in here, trust the plan, because it was making me think of people that talk about a lot these days about trust the plan, and that it seems to be a bit of that belongs to Q, I think, and it kind of belongs to this, a bit of what feels a bit like a psyop, getting people to trust these sort of higher ups that are going to make things all come good. Okay, the plan is for all people everywhere in the world. It works out under the impelling power of evolution itself. They're saying that they work under the law, establishing that they're called the new group of world servers. The results of the work accomplished in these 7 fields. So the 7 fields. I don't know if anyone knows about the 7 mountains. Anyway, I don't want to get too off track, but there's all these areas that they work in, and yeah. Let me just move on. So we did the Lucas Trust, we did Lucifer. So it refers back to the sustainable, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So I don't know who's aware of this. So this is something, once again, that looks really good on the surface if you're not clued in. But if you are clued into this concept of the one world government and the new world order, it rings a lot of alarm bells. So yeah, things can look good on the surface, but whether or not they are good is another matter. And so that's my concern here. Oh, that was that one, yes. And what do we got here? The Tibetan master has stated that he was responsible to the hierarchy for bringing 2 major ideas to the attention of humanity everywhere. The announcement of the existence of the new group of world servers as an effective group of workers intermediate between humanity and the spiritual hierarchy, and 2, the statement in connection with the reappearance of the Christ and the immediate work of preparation. So the idea of, let's come back here and I'll talk to you. The idea of channeling So I know that most Christians that I know would be very wary of the idea of channeling and would be aware of the idea that it's a way of the demonic realm intercepting the human realm. And I've just somehow got it in my mind that there may be people watching that are like, oh yeah, channeling's cool, that's where you get a lot of wisdom. But yes, this whole idea of having your, what's the word for it, guides. Is it spiritual guides? There's another word, isn't there? That it makes you think of the whole concept of stranger danger. Like, how do you know that something is safe and that something's good? Yeah, I'm lost for words. But anyway, so the idea of stranger danger is just because it's a spiritual entity, just because it says things that you want to hear. That's what any deceiver will say, isn't it? What you want to hear. So that's why religious tradition is really important, because it's like any kind of tradition that's handed down and it's tested by trustworthy people, and you can see the fruit, you can see the outward working and the results of it, and you can test it for yourself. But just having a spirit guide who says, oh yes, I just care about humanity and I just want everything to be good. And if you think about, a little child, if you think of the equivalent is a child talking to an adult, as if all adults are good. And if an adult says they just care about you and that's all they care about, well, then it must be true, isn't it? If they can make you feel safe, then, well, that child's safe, aren't they? And if it's like that for us with the spiritual realm, just because it's a spiritual being doesn't make it safe. So that's for the people that might be unsure about whether or not channeling is a good idea. So just got someone coming home, so I'm a bit self-conscious now, but I'll be all right. So the idea, so I don't know if I should leave the rest so I'll just touch a bit on it and maybe we can come back to it another time. So the concern I have is that, like I said, the idea of 2025 was supposed to be the beginning of the externalization of the hierarchy. Now, and if you're following the understanding of the world from the perspective that there is a new world order agenda that is being set up by a cabal of very high up, very wealthy families. I don't really know. I haven't really gone deep into understanding exactly, but I know I can see enough. I can know enough that there is some sort of agenda, and that it is cooperating with the spiritual realm from a dark place, from not under true authority, and that more and more it feels like we're in this space of it being exposed, it being much more brought out into the light, that this stuff that's going on with Candace is there's a lot of exposure, there's a lot of awareness. And, everyone's talking about that we're all awakening and we're all waking up to what's really going on, and some of the awful things that are being used to control people, using children, using young people to entrap people, to bring people with authority in governments under control of these people through blackmail and bribery. But my concern is that because I think you can't rule, I think if you, like they talk about the deep state and shadow government and things that are sort of under the covers, and they talk about the hidden hand in history, which is the people that have been controlling things from behind the scenes. So if it links in my mind, it links to this idea of the hierarchy, the people that are really running things from behind the curtains. And that if the goal is world domination and world control, then they're going to at some point have to become overt. Like at the moment, they're secretive, But there's only so much you can do. You've still got to work through the systems of law, and you've still got to have the people on board because in the Christian world of our democracies, or whatever you want to call them, you can't get away with tyranny in the same way as you can in other cultures. And so that's been a real block. And that if you investigate any of these ideas of the New World Order and the one world government that is wanting to control everything, the biggest agenda is to destroy Christianity. And I believe it's the thing that's protecting humanity from this thing taking over. And but because it's sort of like, you get tyrannical, you have throughout history, there's awful tyrannical governments that will control and dominate and be brutal. And we've seen that come in through communism and fascism, where it becomes overt. But I mean, it took hold in China and Russia, communism, but it couldn't sustain with fascism in Germany. But I think that still that tyrannical, totalitarian type of government is the type of government that's trying to take over the world now. And that's why so many people are concerned about things like the digital ID, because this New World Order wants to control through technology, and will require something like a digital ID to require everyone to obey the rules according to their way, or that you can't participate in society. And so I think what's happening at the moment is, even though there's these shocking revelations going on, I think in a way maybe it knows it has to happen, that it knows that it has to acclimatize people to accepting that these are the people that actually have control. And in a way, it's like shooting Charlie Kirk is a bit like, well, deal with it. Yeah, we've got control. We've actually got the power. If you speak up against us, if you don't play the game that we want you to play, then you're out. And now with Candace being threatened, it's the same thing. It's sort of like tyranny exposing itself and acclimatizing us to get used to, well, now this is your new reality. And that I think, the idea of, it makes me think of the idea of the iron fist in a velvet glove, which is, some people saw it as like, firmness, but just with a gentle touch. But I don't think that's what it means. Napoleon first said that apparently, but I think what the idea is that you can disguise cruel tyranny as gentle kindness. If what people are interacting with is soft and looks beautiful, then they maybe can be gaslighted into believing that they're being treated well, when in fact there's something very cruel and tyrannical that's ruling things. And I think that's what we're being acclimatized to now. I think our Christian culture is being undermined, and we're getting more of this mechanistic world, this AI-run world, dehumanized, and getting used to, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, yeah, like it was something to do with a type of rule, like, anyway, doesn't matter. I think I've said everything I wanted to say today, and I'm losing my concentration, and I've probably lost yours too, so. All right, so me and Mowgli will have to say goodnight, and God bless, and thank you for listening, and please comment if you've got any thoughts about what I'm talking about. It would be very interesting to me to know what people are thinking. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night.